Hi guys. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to our YouTube channel today. I'm going to share with you guys an August event of my life that will surely apple you. But before moving towards the video, don't forget to click the subscribe button. If you want more curious and gripping real couple stories, meet me. This is Benjamin John. I'm 33 years old man. I'm based in Houston where I'm currently working in the food and beverage industry as a medical and health manager. Always remember one thing, believe blindly will only get you heard nothing else. She was so fly and hussy. Well, tracing back to the year 2021 when I got married to a young and stylish lady named Jennifer. Jennifer used to be a seller at the beverage company where I was serving as a hygiene manager. But before getting married, both of us left the company due to some personal issues. Later, I joined the food and beverage industry as a medical and health manager. Whereas my wife joined an office, things were really satisfying in the beginning. Like I remember, Jennifer used to be very beautiful and responsible. Our physical relationship was really going well. Like we used to have a lot of fun and romance on the weekends, but things started going wrong gradually. One day when it was a Saturday's night, my wife was preparing herself in front of the mirror. I remember she was wearing a very fancy dress when I asked her where she was going. My wife said that she was going to her friend's wedding. When I asked if I should go with her, she diffused me clearly. I really did not know why she didn't want me to go with her. She had never done this before because I remember before that whenever she used to go to her friend's wedding, she always used to take me with her. She did not even allow me to drop her off at the wedding venue. I remember I was at the washroom that time when my wife was wearing a dark crimson lipstick in front of the mirror. When I came back from the washroom, my wife had vanished. It seemed like if she did not want me to see to home, she was going well. I ignored her and swimmed in Netflix. It was about 2 a.m. that night, but my wife did not reach the house yet. I was really worried about her. I called her but her mobile phone was switched off. I remember her mobile phone's battery was full when I plugged out her charger in order to plug in mine. I kept waiting for her. And finally my wife reached at about 3 a.m. Remember she was totally drunk that time, even her makeup was all ruined. When I asked her the reason for her late arrival, she said that her friend was insisting on staying with her. I remember but she seemed so full and tired that won't be able to stand properly. I helped her reach the bedroom and then we slept. I remember the next morning when I woke up, my wife was wearing a face mask. She seemed really happy and excited. When I asked her the reason for her happiness, my wife replied that her stepbrother was going to shift into an apartment along with his girlfriend who is her childhood friend. They were actually going to shift next to our house. My wife was so happy that she took off from her workplace and was swept in the kitchen. I remember she was making a delicious meal for her stepbrother and his girlfriend. I had never seen her this happy, to be honest. I was also very happy after seeing her extremely excited when her stepbrother reached the house. I found him really awkward. I remember he was a very aggressive person. My wife was looking at him as if he had met the love of her life. Her eyes were literally shining like if she had met the apple of her eye. I remember she was continuously serving different foods to her brothers and was not even considering me that time. Her stepbrother was going to stay at our house along with his girlfriend. To be honest, I was really not fond of wine. But that night after dinner, my wife's behavior was really strange. I remember she was continuously insisting me that I drink wine while I drank and slept. But the next morning when I woke up, I found my wife nowhere in the bedroom. It was about 5 a.m. when I went outside of the bedroom in order to see my wife. I was shocked to see her at her stepbrother's room. When I asked her what she was doing at her stepbrother's room, she was literally like a fish out of water and then said that she was placing water jug to the side table of her brother's house while I ignored and asked her to sleep. The very next day, her stepbrother shifted to next to his house along with his girlfriend. Things were getting complicated day by day. since my wife's stepbrother shifted near our house. One night when I was working on my laptop, I was extremely occupied because I had to make a price sheet of beverages while my wife appeared in front of me. I remember she was wearing a hot and attractive cherry-colored sundress. She was holding a tray with a glass of wine over it. I diffused her and said that I don't want to drink wine because I have to accomplish my work. After hearing me, my wife seemed really confused and restless. I remember that she began to crawl with me that I was not listening to her. She was never like this before. I really did not know why she wanted me to drink the wine regularly. After finishing my work, I slept and tried to cuddle my wife from behind, but she was continuously pushing me back like she was angry with me as I hadn't drinking the wine. It was about 2 a.m. that night when I woke up in order to quench my thirst. Meanwhile, I caught a sight on the bed. I was shocked to see my wife nowhere in the bed. I even checked out the washroom, but she was nowhere. I was extremely worried about her because she was nowhere in the house even though her mobile phone was in our bedroom. I remember my wife reached the house at about 4 a.m. She seemed extremely tired when she found me awake. She was literally very confused and began to give me an explanation that she was in the church because she was missing her late parents. I remember my wife began to blubber, so I did not say anything to her, instead patted on her shoulder. My wife's activities were getting strange day by day. Like I was extremely high. I wanted my wife in the bed, but she was giving me gestures like she didn't want me to have any physical activities with her. I literally got shocked to see lipstick stain on my wife's body. I remember my wife was removing those stains with the tissue. She seemed extremely confused and perplexing. My wife then began to give me useless explanations. The same night, my wife gave me the wine as usual and insisted that I drink it. One day I asked her why she wanted me to sip the wine regularly. My wife seemed really confused and cunningly said to me that wine is good for health, blah, blah. I really didn't know what was the meaning of wearing perfume and makeup every day. Even one day when I slept early at about 8 a.m. My wife forcefully woke me up. She seemed extremely restless when I asked her why she woke me up. My wife said that I should take the wine. The way my wife was insisting me on for wine regularly at night was literally beyond my understanding. I remember whenever I used to diffuse my wife for taking wine, she panicked and said that I did not consider her words. Something must be wrong with her because this wine insistent skim every night has been going on for 1 month. My wife's activities were getting more and more strange day by day. I even caught some marks on her body. Like if someone had bite her. I decided to chase my wife to know the matter. In order to familiar with the reality the very next day, I was damn sure that my wife would definitely ask me to drink wine. I remember it was about 6 p.m. in the evening. My wife was in the kitchen. I remember her phone was continuously vibrating. Like if someone was desperately waiting for her. I'd reached home very early that day after dinner. My wife came close to me and told me that she would deliver the baby very soon. I remember she was blushing. I could feel the happiness on her face. To be honest, when I came to know about my wife's pregnancy, I was really so happy and excited. Like literally, there was no place for my happiness. I literally kissed my heart and asked her to go with me for dinner in order to celebrate this happiness. We really enjoyed that night. I ordered my wife's favorite food at her favorite restaurant. But I remember she seemed really restless. It seemed like she wanted to go back. I felt really impatient. As soon as we reached the house, my wife hardly went to the fridge and then took out the wine. I remember she was wearing a green-colored lingerie and then gave me the wine to drink. I wanted to chase her. So I pretended in front of her like I was fully drunk that I slept. I remember when my wife found me and fully asleep, she called someone and then stepped outside of the house. He started following her steadily. And secretly, to be honest, my feet froze at that time because I wasn't able to see my wife cheating in front of me. Well, I took some courage and kept following her. I was shocked to see my wife entering my stepbrother's house. Even someone was already in the garage. In order to receive my wife, they have so much darkness that I was not able to identify them. Well, my wife finally went outside of the house along with the person who welcomed her. I was damn sure that my wife would be along with her stepbrother. I kept following her. I was shocked to see my wife entering the front room along with the same person. They both were really clever and advices that they hardly locked the door. So I wasn't able to see what they were going to do inside the room. I had never thought that my wife's stepbrother would be physically active with her, and there was literally no place for my anger. I realized that the baby in my wife's womb would be her stepbrother's baby with great disappointment. I was just going back to my house. Meanwhile, I caught sight of my wife's stepbrother who was sleeping in his bed after seeing him sleep. I was literally so shocked. Like for once my feet froze. I really did not know to whom my wife was in the room. I quickly went back to that room. I began to knock the door harshly. My wife unlocked the door. After about 5 minutes after finding me in front of her, she was literally so confused because she thought that I was sleeping. After drinking a load of wine, I was shocked to see my wife's shirt buttons open. I remember after seeing me, she began to fix her buttons. I really wanted to see the person to whom my wife was in the room. I literally pushed my wife harshly in order to go inside of the room. When I moved inside, what I thought would definitely shock you. I was shocked to see my wife's stepbrother's girlfriend fully naked in the bed. I remember after finding me in front of her, she was veiling herself with a blanket. I was shocked and realized that my wife was actually lesbian. I began to yell at my wife loudly that her stepbrother also woke up when I told my wife's stepbrother that her girlfriend is lesbian. I was shocked to see his reaction. He was literally okay with that. And in fact, asked me to calm down at last. My wife confessed something that was unbelievable. My wife told me that her stepbrother's girlfriend used to be her crush since childhood. My wife said that she loved her brother's girlfriend so much that when my wife was 14 years old, she proposed to her. They both were physically active with each other since childhood. But one day, unfortunately, that girl moved to New York along with her parents. Even though her brother broke up with her, she further confessed that her stepbrother was all aware of this. All my wife told me that when she saw her stepbrother's girlfriend after about 3 years, there was literally no place for her happiness. My wife cried and said that she used to give me wine regularly as she used to have a lot of romance in bed along with her stepbrother's girlfriend every night. After hearing this all, I was literally wondering about them. My wife was crying badly because she was feeling embarrassed. My wife, reality was exposed in just 2 days back. I'm really confused. Should I consider this cheating? Unable to take any decisions? Please help me. What would you do if you were in the same situation? Your feedback would be very beneficial for me.